And that's exactly what we're trying to do tonight. We were trying to recruit you over to the cause that gender identity expression needs the support of everyone amongst the LGBT and allied community to make sure that we extend protections to all of our community. We're proud that Promo, Trans Haven, Showing No Hate, and a number of other community organizations have come together for a week-long series of activities. I hope that you will join us on Saturday for a culmination downtown on the steps of City Hall for another big rally and a march in support of LGBT rights. And in honor, whenever Ed Reggie had originally asked me about Promo being involved with this, I said one of the major reasons why I felt that Harvey Milk was so important was his political activity, his political involvement, raising the voice of the LGBT community in general, because we need that political power at the table. We need out-elected officials, we need strong allies to stand in support of us. That's important. And one of the things tonight that I'm very excited is that, and I'll say the announcement for one of our ALC representatives here with us tonight is Alderman St Cohn. And I'm going to lead things off with letting him introduce himself, and then we'll go down to the table with introductions. And Shane's actually here tonight with a great announcement, so let's go ahead and start off with that.
I start off with intros first. Shane Cohn, Alderman in the City of St Louis, 25th Ward, which is kind of the Dutchtown, Mount Pleasant, and portions of the Cromwell neighborhoods.
I'm Cheryl Wayland, and I'm the Executive Director of SAGE Metro St. Louis, which is Services and Advocacy for GLBT Elders.
I'm Cody Fairchild, and I'm just a rebel.
I'm Chloe Astor Huntington, co-chair of Trans Haven, Missouri, the statewide advocacy and education organization for transgender individuals.
And Shane, why don't you go ahead and tell us about some of the big news that you have for us this evening?
Well, I'm not sure how familiar most of you are with some of the laws in the City of St. Louis, but the City of St. Louis is actually one of the more LGBT-friendly cities in the state of Missouri. And we've actually had a law on the books for a number of years now that established a civil rights enforcement agency that is also led by a commission of appointees that are appointed by the mayor, and it's a citizen-based commission called the CREA Commission. And so that commission and that law actually currently protects the LGB members of our community. And tomorrow at the Board of Aldermen, I will actually be introducing a piece of legislation that will include gender identity and expression and the law that basically would prohibit discrimination based upon gender identity and expression for housing, employment, and other purposes as well. So I'm very excited that we're going to be able to do this. It's been a long track over the last few months to make sure that we have some of the support. We've worked with the mayor's office on this. We've worked with Ruby Bonner, who is the executive director of the Civil Rights Enforcement Agency, is aware of it and supportive of it. She will actually be down at the board meeting tomorrow to show her support for the legislation. And so hopefully, the process is going to take a little bit of time because it has to get assigned to committee and get voted out of committee and go out for the board for a full vote and all of that. But I'm very, very optimistic that this will happen this year. So I'm pleased to make the announcement tonight that we'll hopefully have a very trans-friendly piece of legislation that will pass out the board.
Be a full transition from one sex to another. That in the workplace or related to real estate issues and whatnot can present problems and can present discrimination. An ordinance like this will actually prevent discrimination from hiring, firing, and through leaseholds and real estate purchases and so on and so forth. So it's very important to have this on the books so that people feel comfortable to know that they can actually go through the process of transition and discover who they actually are and identify with their psychological gender.
Shane is confident that we're not going to have a lot of obstacles in getting this passed. However, we do encourage, and both Promo and Trans Haven will keep the community engaged around attending hearings or anything like that whenever it comes up for the public appeal.
Having to answer questions with the customers. And then 2 months later, I came up against the same thing at the restaurant I was employed at downtown. So it was like, what am I supposed to do now? I lost my insurance, I lost both my jobs. And I also had another health crisis at that time I was going through, so it came at a really bad time. this law would have been in effect, maybe I wouldn't have had it happen.
Training, sitting in the room, eating lunch. As I walk up to the table, I hear one of the young officers in training lean over to his buddies and say, "Bull Dyke." Now at that time, I experienced a sense of fear that I probably had never really experienced in my life. And it was because, you know, here's somebody that's going to be patrolling our streets and supposedly going to be keeping us safe. But he saw me in a manner that really scared me from his response. And my thought was, if he pulls me over one night on a dark street in St. Louis, what might he do to me? Because he thinks that I need to look a different way or be a different way. And, you know, so I think that's one of the important things that this legislation will do, is really help to start educating our community on the importance of respect, dignity, and nonviolence toward all.
Way because their gender expression does not match the biological gender on their ID. And how can, I'm just wondering, how with that going on in our own community, can we really expect the rest of the city to recognize gender expression and gender identity? And I'm wondering if maybe, would this law make that practice illegal? Would this ordinance make it so that you could no longer deny someone entrance to an establishment because their gender expression?
Doing that, I would presume, are probably doing that because of state law requirements in terms of drinking and whatnot, but I'm sure there are others that don't. And this law does specifically address public accommodations. So it would afford protections to those that are discriminated against in a place of
Because
public
the education that has to be done, both within our communities and outside our communities, are essential for this bill to really have an impact. In a way, we all have to become our own advocates, and we have to advocate for our brothers and sisters beside us. And, you know, we have to be that voice that goes into the bar that may not want to serve somebody. And so you
I did identify as gay prior to my transition, and at the time I was younger, and it was a long psychological, evaluation of who I was, and then I came out to close people and so on and so forth. I'm sure many of you have been through the same experiences. With the transgender individual, that coming out process is still there, identifying to their friends and family that they are identifying with a different gender identity than their biological sex, and then they have to tell them, well, there's all these steps that I have to go through. And it's the duration that it takes to complete the final step of their transition, which is different for everyone, that presents all these problems with discrimination. They don't have the correct gender marker or the correct legal name, and then that presents problems. Or they've come out to family and friends, but the employer is now starting to recognize something. And it's protections that are guaranteed in this ordinance, and there are several that are enumerated, that will allow them that, the ability to breathe, that space and that comfort that they've desired for so long, that they say, I can do this now because the law is on my side. And that, coupled with the education that hopefully we'll provide through our community, will make this town and their transitioning process a little bit more tolerant and a little bit easier.